Welcome to another episode of the Not an MSP show. I'm checking LinkedIn comments. So LinkedIn is broken again today. So LinkedIn's been really pissing me off lately with comments. It's either hit or miss. So, but yes, we have Mark Barton over on LinkedIn, Clinton Castellar over on LinkedIn. So I wanted to say hi and let you guys know we know you're here. I just can't put their comments up on the screen because of the LinkedIn.
The LinkedIn gods don't like us lately.
They got to get their stuff together, man. They spend December screwing around with everything because people are offline, and then we spend January trying to fix everything. So that's typical with LinkedIn. So it's because it's Microsoft. I blame it's because it's Microsoft. So.
Oh, it is now. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So how are you guys doing today? We got Sam's Richard. He's dealing with the electrician, so his internet gods are not working for him either. So how are you guys doing today?
I'm good. Yeah, having the existential crisis, which I mentioned before the call, but other than that, fantastic.
Awesome. Scott, how's your day? How's your week going so far?
Oh, so good. It's really cold here in the UK, but it's blue and sunny skies. And so for my self-installed solar panels and inverters and batteries and everything I just finished in December, I'm having a great week. It's really good.
Nice.
It's one of those nerd things where I constantly keep looking at the stats and how many kilowatts am I generating. Ooh, it's exciting.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
have you got Home Assistant yet, Scott?
No, that's my next little project. I've got a little Raspberry Pi set to one side. That'll be the next one.
Nice.
Oh, if I'm gonna use this, I'm gonna abuse this opportunity. Anyone watching this, if you can get hold of a Raspberry Pi 4 compute module, please let me know because they're impossible to get hold of right now. And yeah, I'm trying to move my home assistant install to a Pi. So yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Yeah, once you get a Home Assistant, you can. I don't know if you can see much of that, but you can literally like hook it up into Home Assistant and get all of your solar stats, all the devices that cost you money, the gas usage, the expense. Like, it's so cool. It's so much fun.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Very nice. Anyway, always fun. It wouldn't work too well here in Ohio, at least this winter. It's like yesterday with sunshine, and then we'll go like 10 days with no sun. It's just, It's been one of those winters. So it's very depressing. Very depressing.
Yeah.
Sounds like the UK.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's like sun comes out. And I'm like, oh, what is that? Orange orb in the sky. So anyway, it's been fun stuff in the MSP world the last couple weeks. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today is having difficult conversations with our clients. I know we got started a little bit late, so this will be an abbreviated version of this. But I think we can do it. So I kind of want to talk about a couple things that if I'm an MSP the last couple weeks, Scott, you, Pete and I were talking before you jumped on the call about the LastPass breach. And then the other one I didn't cover, Pete, was kind of what came across Friday that I saw lighting up forums about Windows Defender and Microsoft pushed out an update. And so anyway, I think I think it's a good point to start there if I'm an MSP, because I think those are difficult conversations to have with our clients when stuff like that happens. So I think, Scott, did you run into any of that being still in the MSP game? Did you see any anomalies on?
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
It was Friday here in the States anyway. So
yeah, it feels like Friday for us as well. I know there were some patches pushed out really quickly by Microsoft, which is the one nice thing about this. But no, we had. I mean, it happened to us. We run Defender for Endpoint. We drink our own champagne, eat our own dog food. Choose your. But no, it happened to us. It actually happened to me on Thursday. I noticed it was happening, and I thought it was just me. I thought it was my machine. And then, as you know, Friday it explodes and it hits everybody. And yeah, some awkward conversations. Where we've gone and told these clients, hey, we're putting this tooling in place because it's the best there is, and it's fantastic for you, and it's going to make sure that you have less disruption and less downtime, and it's going to keep you safe, and everyone's going to be working productively. And then Friday comes, and like, oh, my Outlook doesn't work, and I can't find Teams. And it's all the tickets are hilarious. Like, someone's deleted everything off my computer. All my work's gone. Yeah, I know, and I'm not trying to make light of the users, but the kind of tickets that we were getting through. It's just like the world's ended. And so it is really important to kind of get in front of that, and just try and get to explain to people, okay, this is what's happening. It's not all gone. Your work's all safe. Everything's good. Yes, it's a bug essentially, and it's going to get fixed. And this is how it's going to get fixed. But well, to be fair, at the time we didn't know how it was going to get fixed, because we just had to get on the front foot and have the conversations and try to stop the bombardment of tickets coming in, to get notifications out to people, say, hey, we know, okay, what you're about to tell us, we know. I suspect some of the larger MSPs might have even set up their auto response. Press 1 for tech support. If you're calling because your links have all disappeared, your work is all gone, or your computer has lost everything, just know it's a bug. But yeah, so it's
fine, because it's happened to us too, so we can't do anything.
That's right. Yeah, just know you're not alone, and that should make you feel better. So no, it's been an awkward week. Not too bad. I think these are the situations where we can go, look, this, it's very out of the ordinary. It absolutely shouldn't happen. It's clearly a bug. It's not intended behavior. No one's made a deliberate mistake, well, so far as we know. But no one from our MSP team has done anything erroneous or whatever here that's causing you a problem. This is an issue that's affecting hundreds of thousands of users in the country, if not millions around the world. We're here to help, and this is what we're going to do to fix it. And I think those situations are quite nice, where you can clearly say, yes, there's a problem that's affecting many, many, many people, but we've got some solutions for you, and you can kind of get ahead of it that way, and not just sitting back and waiting for all the calls to come in and go, oh yeah, it's more calls about that stupid Microsoft issue. Getting ahead of it's been really important. And I think we're mostly through it now, although I still type Outlook on my computer and nothing happens. It takes me to security settings.
So
I think like those moments.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Andrew. I was going to say, I think those moments are like, that's the chance where like MSPs have got a chance to show what they're made of and like show how good they are. Because you're quite right saying, like, rather than being the type that does sit back and wait for the phone to ring and it's another one, let's explain to them, like getting on the front foot and proactively going out to all your clients, even ones you haven't heard from, sending mail shots out to explain what's happening, explain that it's a third party issue, explain where you are in terms of the process, just basically giving them a rundown of what you know and sharing it with them, so that they're not kind of coming in the morning going, it's all gone, let's pick up the phone and be the caller number 50 or something. So yeah, I think it really, really does show the the actual kind of proactive response for an MFP to go in and I guess having a good CRM system, so you can just go and do that mail shot out to all your clients straight away, even not just your clients but prospects as well, because again, that's a really good opportunity to be like, oh hey, let's email our prospects and tell them what's going on, because chances are your message might be their IT company. Oh hey, this company's like sent me a message before my own IT company. That's the kind of stuff where you really get a chance to shine.
Yeah. Sam made the same thing. Is if you send out an email and they can't get to Outlook, it kind of
well, yeah,
but
one
of those worst case scenarios, man.
Yeah,
yeah, it is. Now, is there any? I'm curious. Like I said, I've been out of the tool space of the MSP space. Is there a tool out there that'll allow you to like mass broadcast like a text message to clients? I'm just curious more than anything.
I mean,
you can do. With CRMs, you can get some text message integrations onto many of the CRM systems. There are also standalone text message systems where you can just load up like emergency contacts for each client to just do a mail shot, a text shot. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah,
a broadcast.
So we used to have it in our larger MSP. We would have it for sort of network incidents or outages or things like that. We had, hundreds of thousands of leased lines and things, and there was always something happening or some kind of platform issue, because it wasn't a very good service anyway. But there was a way to let people know about planned maintenance and emergency issues and incidents through the text message system.
Okay,
so we actually have a LinkedIn message that did work. We didn't get a name.
Exactly. Let me go see who that is. So finally, LinkedIn decided to start working. 20 minutes into the broadcast. So Oh, I know. It's not on my account. It must be coming from. It's probably coming from Richards because I think he tied his LinkedIn. That's
Okay.
probably why I can't see it. But it's weird
But
that
yeah,
his LinkedIn is working. If you're on LinkedIn, Clinton or Mark, send me a text message or send a message through. I'm going to see if the LinkedIn messages are working. So I'm not sure who this user is, but the RMM has text messages. And
yeah.
LinkedIn user, if you could let us know which one that is. I'm like I said, I'm just curious more than anything. Just just again putting those protocols in place when stuff like this does happen so that you know what to do. Like, if you get hit by a bus, does your staff know what to do? But yeah, if it's baked into the RMM, that's good. Sam says CX platforms can do a pop up on machines like a toast notification. So, okay.
I would say, and also when you're sending the communication out, have a very clear path for what the customer should do as well. So and do both in one. So send them out to your existing clients and say, hey, as an existing client or as an MSP client or monthly managed services, whatever kind of you're calling it, then this will happen. Don't worry, we're taking care of it. We're pushing out policy updates or whatever it is. If you're
Gotcha.
not a contracted client, then this will happen. You need to phone us if you want us to do it, or we'll be in contact, or you need to authorize the approve the charges, whatever it's going to be. Just give them the clear instructions of what they need to do or not need to do because you're taking care of it.
Perfect. Yeah. Our LinkedIn user says that Synchro MSP has the ability to
Okay.
send out RMM or send out text messages via RMM. Yeah, that's kind of what I would do back in the day. Is I would have to do it individually because there weren't many like mass texting tools and CRMs really didn't have it. Again, this is 10 years ago. But that's what I would do. Like all of the heavy hitters at all my accounts, I would send them all a personal text message and just say, "Hey, we've got this covered. We're working on it. If you could just let that trickle down to staff and let them know we're working on it." Obviously, that slows down phone calls, tickets, all that kind of stuff. So, but that's great that you were able to kind of make those personal phone calls too, Scott, to, again, make contact with your clients. And I totally agree with you, Pete. That is a chance for us to shine as MSPs. Because it's not
It's a
going to be
great
perfect.
opportunity to just show what we do, and
Yeah.
how we actually help. Because I think sometimes we fall into that trap of everything's working and everything's great and there's no issues. So
Yeah.
maybe just trying to find a silver lining to the cloud.
Well, and it's, again, it's a perfect time to debrief. And I think, while you're in the heat of battle, it's one thing, but I think it's another chance for after everything gets fixed for you to have a conversation with clients, whether that be on a live stream or a webinar and just say, hey, this is what we learned from that process when something breaks from one of our vendors. Because I think that's kind of what we're seeing more and more is, on the vendor
Yeah.
side, which we
Yeah.
can't really do anything as an MSP. We just sit and wait. But yeah, I think, again, that's a chance to have business communication and reinforce the fact this is what you're paying us for. These worst case scenarios are what you're paying us for. And yeah, just reassure them it could have been much worse if we weren't in the
Mhm.
picture. So,
I think it's a good learning exercise as well because it'll help inform you in the sales process. I think because a lot of the times, when I think about having awkward conversations with clients, it's because of the expectations that were set previously. And so if you've set some real expectations that you can't meet, or you've set some expectations around this, antivirus software, it's bulletproof, it's absolutely the best thing, we use it all the time, we've never had any issues, blah 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 blah. We use this RMM tool, we know it's secure, this is how we do it, we've managed thousands of endpoints, and then it has a breach. Okay, and you've set this expectation that things like this could never happen. This couldn't happen. They have thousands and thousands of people looking after this stuff, and they invest so much in security, and it couldn't ever happen. And then you're sat there in the meetings, because it will be meetings with each of your clients, saying, "Yeah, that thing I said wouldn't happen happened." Yeah, and so I think it just helps you like inform your next set of conversations, because you're going to be more cautious now that you've seen these things, or you should be, because setting high expectations is where you then end up getting pulled up by the MD of the business, going, "You told us this could never happen.
yeah.
You sat here and you told us it could never happen, and now you're having a real awkward conversation."
Yeah. So you've set the table quite well for another issue the MSPs have had to deal with is LastPass. Pete's got some experience with well-oiled machine on the password managers. Talk to us a little bit about kind of how you see. I think you did a video. I missed it. I didn't get to watch it. You talked about the LastPass breach. But just any of the MSPs who may have missed it, what would your advice and guidance be in that scenario, Pete?
Yeah, so I guess most people are probably aware of what's happened, but just to catch us up to speed. So LastPass had their backup databases breached, I think it's September last year, and it only really came out in December last year, literally just before or maybe just after Christmas. So they've basically taken a copy of all the backup vaults, and they have obviously the account information in terms of like the main username to get into the accounts, because that's the kind of unencrypted data that was taken. They don't have any of the secret keys to get in. But some of us have recently discovered that actually LastPass wasn't really encrypting as much as they said they were. So some of the additional fields in LastPass weren't actually encrypted. One of them, the key ones, being the URL field. So even if you sit there and argue, well, hey, they haven't got my master password. It was a secure master password, so we're okay. Well, they know your email address from your account. They now know all the websites that you did store passwords for. So now things like phishing attacks can be much more targeted, as well as obviously increasing in numbers as well. So that's one of them. And then also there's a few other things that came up, but basically quite a few years ago, I think it's like 5 or 7 years ago or so, they increased the key iterations in terms of like the encryption that was being used behind the scenes. And it went, without getting technical, from like 5,000 through to like 100,000. And some people have found that their account was still set to 5,000 and wasn't updated. So that becomes obviously less secure and easier to get into. So essentially that happens. Hackers have got the data, and assuming if you had a poor password, then you're going to be very risk, because you're going to have all your stuff stolen and credit card information taken from there, everything that you had in there. And even if you did have a good secure password, my opinion is, technology improves. The phishing attempts is a risk as well. I would just be going out there and basically changing all of your passwords that were stored within LastPass as a precaution. It's always that as a precaution that everyone uses, but fundamentally, I just wouldn't personally ever use or recommend LastPass. I said this in my video before, but they've had a history of breaches for a start, and they've had a history of rug pulling, I guess is the best term for it. So they had a free feature, a free version of LastPass. This is more the consumer side of things. They had a free version. They spent a ton of money with other YouTubers to promote their product and their free product, and obviously increase all the signups. And then they basically went, oh, hey, that free product, we're going to really restrict that so you can only use it from like one device, unless you now pay us and become a paid for client. So they pulled the rug on all the free users, forced everyone to either upgrade or go find another password manager. And of course, the easiest solution, pay the money and just become a paid for client. So just things like that don't sit nicely with me. And they've done a few other things over the years where they kind of brought features in, removed them again, and things like custom fields and those kind of things. So I just personally don't like LastPass. I've never recommended LastPass. They also are one of the only password manufacturers I found that have marketing trackers embedded in their Android apps.
Oh, man.
Which I just feel has no place in any password manager to embed marketing trackers in your apps. There are a few other kind of password managers that have trackers built within them, but those are more for crash analysis and those kind of things. 1Password and Keeper, I think, are the only ones that have nothing in terms of trackers on their Android app side of things. So yeah, general advice is change all your passwords and go find a different password manager. To be honest, you can't really go wrong with most of the well-known and named password managers out there, apart from LastPass. Yeah, it's a pain. It's something that, again, I see it in the comments because I make videos every year, and I'm just actually today, maybe it might even be out by now, I'm not sure. I'm posting my like best password manager of the year review and comparison. And I see in the comments all the time of like, oh, it's better to not use a password manager because what if it gets hacked and they steal everything? It's like, yeah, it would never happen. And then LastPass made it happen.
Yeah. So I think there's two approaches. I think Pocket Video School says he was a LastPass customer for 10 years till they pulled out the rug, so he jumped to Bitwarden. So I think there's two approaches here. if I'm an MSP that has been running LastPass for my customers, and then you find that out, what do you guys recommend for a basis of conversation for an MSP if they're sitting in those shoes right now?
So I mean,
I think.
for me, that
Okay, Scott.
oh, good, you go. Oh, he's got a drink now. He's got me. No.
He's got the beer going, man.
Yeah. So I think, like, for me, I think in the same way we spoke earlier about, obviously this is a vendor issue. It's not something that you as an MSP have done, but your customer's going to want to feel confident that you understand the severity of the problem. You can tell them whether they are impacted and what they need to do, but also you need to be able to tell them what you're going to do next. And I would suggest, if it was me, obviously you are going to be looking for a new password management tool. But if you've already made that decision, like between December and the 18th of January, maybe that's a good call. Maybe it's not a good call. I think your client would understand if you say to them, hey, we've taken this all in. LastPass, as far as we understood, we're a good, credible vendor of password management tools. You have to say that, because otherwise, why on earth did you recommend it to them in the first place? I know we've just said, hey, they've been crap for 10 years. But if you've already sold it to them, you have to be saying, hey, we genuinely believed this was the right product for you. What we're not going to do, Mr. Client or Mrs. Client, is jump to another product really quickly without making sure that it absolutely is one that's well regarded and is going to look after your data safely. And I think that's a fair conversation to have, but you still need to give them an idea of a time frame, or you're going to commit to giving them regular updates. And then you can follow up, hey, after our meeting that we had last week, I'm pleased to let you know that there's actually been some progress. This is where we are now in discussion with, this particular vendor or whatever it is. And then you can keep them informed of that process. And then when you come up to the time where it's about to cut them over, they're well informed. They understand the change. They know there's going to be disruption in their business as everyone gets these new password tools rolled out. But hey, it's all for their benefit, because you don't want to have a repeat of what happened in December. Ideally, you want to get that done in first quarter. But some MSPs are going to have thousands and thousands of endpoints to go through, and again, that's a fair thing to have that conversation with your client. They will want to feel like they're the most important client, of course, but they will understand that you're a business and that you have a number of clients to tend to, and you're going to make the best decision for everybody, as well as something that you can manage in the long term. So it's going to be awkward. It's not your fault, obviously, but as long as you have a clear plan, you're not sounding too reactive. Because I think if you were to come into my business and say, hey, this happened, but don't worry, we've picked something else and we're moving everyone over, I'd be like, dude, how much thinking time did you do? Because I just feel like it's either all going to go wrong in the cutover. We're not going to get a great cut. It's going to feel rushed. You might miss something in the export, or you might end up with a big load of plain text. How are you going to get us from A to B safely? And is that product any better than this product? Like, how do we know? That's the ultimate answer that you need to have for them, but it's not an answer I think you need to have today. It's fine to be saying, we're doing that discovery now and we're taking it very seriously.
I like that.
I think the main thing fundamentally to focus on with the client discussions is to secure the client, because that's basically what you're there to do, is secure the client. So whatever advice, recommendations in terms of, helping them or ensuring they know they need to reset their passwords. If they're still a LastPass customer, then obviously change it as much as you can. Make sure they've got 2FA set up on their accounts, like all those kind of things. Just whatever you can. Again, secure the client. That's your priority as their MSP. And then, exactly like Scott said, I almost think this raises another kind of potential query or process that you should be doing, I feel, in MSPs, and we did it as part of ours, is like an annual, maybe biannual, or something, like some form of review where every year you go and look at your own tools and go, are we using the best in the industry for what we want to do? We best antivirus, the best RMM, the best even down to your own internal tools, the ticketing tools. Just find the thing that works best for you. And I know, of course, you can't just go and jump PSA and RMM products every year, because it's just not you just can't do it. It's too difficult. But particularly with like the security products, security is so fast changing that it's worth staying on top of those and going, like we've seen recently, like the Sentinel ones and those kind of next gen antivirus engines, actually going, well, let's have a look at them. Let's trial them out. Let's see how they work. Do we now replace that with one of our legacy antivirus, traditional antivirus vendors, and just spending the time? Because I think that's the main thing, is you're there to advise, recommend. You're the expert, so make sure you're aware of the rest of the market. It's kind of why the internal ITs. If you go and work in one company, you just get to know. You get very kind of, I know the company's IT systems and nothing else. Whereas as an MSP, we see the whole market, we see everything else going on, all the other products, and that's the kind of expertise, and that's the benefit we have as an MSP. So it's just spending some time assessing what you're using, and to Scott's comment, don't necessarily just go and jump and go, oh, we were on LastPass, now let's go to Keeper or 1Password or whoever the next kind of best person is, but actually looking at your tools, because in the likes of IT Glue, if anyone's using IT Glue, well, that's got password managers within that. Like, can we use that? Should we use that? Again, making your own assessment, testing it out, seeing how it works, and just making sure it works for you as a business.
Yeah, and I think those are great approaches if I'm a current LastPass customer making a transition. But if I'm not a LastPass customer and my clients haven't been on that, what are your guys' recommendations on, do I just say nothing, or like what can I do as an MSP to help educate? Because Tony made a good point, putting the client at ease is paramount. Unfortunately, I can't pull that comment in. So
but check out these guys. They screwed up.
Yeah. So what do you guys, what are your recommendations if I'm, we're using a tool like Keeper already and it's good? The customers, we know that your customers likely have seen headlines. They've likely have seen things on the YouTubes. What can we do as MSPs to jump in there and at least add to the conversation, or should we?
No, I think you definitely should. It's really important, because don't forget that there will be some MSPs who use LastPass who don't say anything to their clients because they don't want to scare their clients and think that there might be a risk of a breach. So if you're the MSP that doesn't use LastPass, it's still great to write to your clients and say, hey, you will have seen this in the news, just so you know, we don't use this tool within our organization. And so as far as we're concerned, you're not affected by this. We're not affected by this, but we just wanted to put your mind at ease. If you'd like to have any further conversations about the impact that this is having, on a wider basis, feel free to give me a call, but just know this isn't impacting you, how we manage your service in any way. And I think that's a really important statement to make, because they might worry about it. And then again, this is like we said at the start of this call, it's about getting on the front foot. Do you want them calling you going, oh my God, there's been a data breach, and you're like, what do you mean there's been a data breach? Yeah, all the passwords have been hacked. Whose passwords? What's going on? Yeah, there's LastPass breach. Dude, we don't use LastPass. Oh. Or would you rather be on the front foot of that conversation, just so you know? It's just like a PSA, right? You're just going to send it out, let them know, this is where we are. You are cool. We're all good. If you want to chat, I'm right here. And I just think that's a nice way to go about it. People would rather get that email than have to panic and call you.
Yeah.
One thing I'd add on to that, actually, Scott, because that's a very good point. But also, don't forget that even if you as the MSP aren't using LastPass, then your end users might be using LastPass in their own personal kind of world.
Yeah.
So it'd be a really great opportunity. So again, like, talking about kind of doing your homework, go and look at the market if you can, make your assessment. Again, don't jump to conclusions, but at least go out there and give them some opportunities and options. If you are using LastPass in your own kind of personal circumstance or your family, then have a look at considering this. Like, you can secure your account by doing this, this, and this within LastPass. If you did want to consider, then here is a few other options that we know are very well respected and liked in the IT world. So give them some options, at least so they know what they can do.
Yeah, that's perfect.
No, that's good. And I'd also say, like, just keep that communication really light. Don't make any judgments in it. Don't be calling names. Don't go, oh, those idiots over at LastPass. Don't do any of that, because for that exact reason, like you said, Pete, they might be using it in their personal lives. And so when you go, oh, those idiots at LastPass, that translates to you're an idiot as a client because you were using this on your home machine. Just keep it light. This is what's happened. This is whether, it hasn't affected you. It hasn't affected us. We're all cool. Maybe, like you say, you might want to check if you're using this personally. It's a great time to have a look at that. But yeah, just keep it friendly.
Yeah. I've got a comment over on my LinkedIn feed. It says, Danielle, she said, what about having the client as part of that discovery with new tools? Are they open to being included in a beta or a point of contact engagement? So what would you guys recommend there? Have you done that? So
the process that we did before was test internally first. So maybe with us, it was one of our senior techs. It was kind of their responsibility and roles to go and do the initial kind of foot finding work and finding the kind of best few to test out. Once you then settle on perhaps the last one or two, and you're thinking you might be moving to it, then yes, maybe roll it out to a select group of your clients or users or whoever you want to kind of work with to do that. I think it's very, very worthwhile doing, but just make sure you're not going, okay, we're gonna antivirus, let's test out these 5. Right, okay, which 5 clients are we now going to deploy 5 different antiviruses to, and now we're going to manage and maintain and figure it all out. Then we're going to collect feedback from all 5 different clients and all 5 different AIs, and that's just one product. Then you've got to do the other products as well. So just as long as you can do some amount of testing internally yourself before anything else, then when you whittle it down to the last 1 or 2, then yes, push it out to 1 or 2 test clients, get some feedback, and get their thoughts on the process as well. The other thing I've done previously, and just more thinking out loud nowadays, because with the kind of replacing products, swapping one product for another. I know some people are going from antivirus that was 50 pence or cents or $1 per license to now maybe I'm not sure what they cost nowadays, but the next gen are like 4 or 5 per license. So that's a big cost increase. So it's, again, speaking to your client, keeping that kind of communication open and saying, look, hey, this is the product, but it does mean that we're going to have to bump prices up on, hopefully not selling just antivirus by itself, but maybe that might bump prices up elsewhere within your packaging, and actually, just run that past them, get their thoughts. Is that okay with you? Like, what would you think if we were to offer you this service, which included this, products and bundles of kind of services at this price? And I always like kind of getting some initial reactions from clients. Even though I also say, don't let that then guide your decision, because clients aren't always right.
That was going to be my point. I love, getting friendly clients involved in that process. If you get to the late stage and you're like, we like both of these, we'd love to do some real world testing, and I'd really appreciate some feedback. That's what I'm after. I don't like, you've got to just be really clear with them that you may find some negative experiences about this, and you may say it's not the product for you, but it may be the product that we choose, because for all of our clients, it might be the best, but it might have the best integrations. So again, set really good expectations. They're not helping you with the decision-making process, but you'd really value some feedback on the experience, the end user experience. I think it's just nice to be really clear again up front.
Yeah, and I think that's super important, because I think let's see here, Clinton had mentioned it. Clinton from Breeze Logic talked about that Microsoft price increase. So you kind of touched on that, Pete. Just having your pulse on costs and being able to justify any cost increases, because it's going to happen. Like, we're not done yet. Like, I don't think we're done with cost increases from the tools that we use, but I think it's super important to have those conversations with your clients and have those relationships. The problem that I kind of see is with MSPs, if you're not doing regular technology business reviews or just any kind of regular, client communication, the only time they ever hear from you is when stuff hit the fan. I think that's a bad scenario to be in. So for me, if I'm gonna coach a client now, this is an opportunity for you to have a discussion, even if it's getting on YouTube and recording a couple-minute video. Like, it just doesn't have to be this lengthy written email, doesn't have to be a lengthy process. But I think just having those regular communications with clients is super important. And I think, this kind of highlights it. Because if you have those relationships with your clients already, you're doing those regular reviews, that makes these conversations much easier. That makes a price increase conversation easier. That makes it, hey, we need to look at a new tool, much easier. Because I think about, the clients that we would go in and do, and again, I didn't really classify it as a technology business review or quarterly business review, just because it weirds clients out that this has to be some formal meeting. So those of you who've listened to the podcast before, my thoughts are it can be as simple as, hey, we're going to bring in lunch for your staff, and we just want to sit and hang out, see how you guys are doing. Like, that can be your technology business review, because you find things out. It's funny. You find things out that, annoyances your customer may have, maybe with you or your help desk or with technology, that you may not see in a ticket. And I think those things are super important. So if you're regularly doing that, that eases these conversations. You were going to say something, Scott. Go ahead.
No, absolutely. What was I going to say? No, so I mean, I totally think that the informal, meeting really helps them. Just like barriers are down, they're relaxed, they're more comfortable, more things naturally come to them. Whereas when you go like, we're going to do a TBR, they then say, oh, okay, what problems do we have? And then they'll struggle to think of the challenges. Then they'll be asking people, and whereas when they're just relaxed and you're there with the whole team, someone who maybe wouldn't raise something. Go, do you know what I've always wanted to ask? Why do we have to do this and then this and then this? It seems you're like, why are you doing that? You should just do this, or we can flip a switch. Why would you do it that way? And they're like, oh, we've been doing that for years. Great. I'm glad we had this chance to just grab a pizza and have a chat. So I really like that kind of way of just dealing with people rather than it being a formal meeting. Because when you do a formal meeting, you feel like, right, I'm going to bring all the service desk statistics, and I'm going to bring all the call closure times, and I'm going to bring a copy of the SLA for when you moan that we didn't set up a new user, and I'm going to point out that it's 24 hours and you're going to tell me we didn't do it in 2, and I'm going to have anyway. That's how that conversation is going to go. So no, I just think informal's it's so much more friendly each way. But it won't work for every client. Some clients are very formal, we know that. But I think for the most part, again, it's just people spending time with people. You're in partnership. It's not a, buy-sell relationship. The other thing I just wanted to mention was around those 9% price rises for Microsoft in the UK. It's a great opportunity to chat to your client now and say, hey, look, this is coming. How can we help you avoid this? How can we mitigate this? How can we help you reduce the impact on you for at least the next 12 months. And obviously the view there is try and get a renewal in before the 1st of April. Some people are going to say, oh my goodness, my renewal isn't due until the 15th of April or May or September or whatever it is. Well, I tell you what, I chatted to a distributor today who said, here's the way around that. On the 31st of March, go and take out a new subscription for one license of every type that you need, and they'll be locked in for that price point for the next 12 months. And then just have that one license. And then when your renewal date comes up on the existing subscription, you turn down all those licenses. So you turn off 300 of them at the old price, and you turn on 300, the locked in price, which is now locked in until next April. That's one way to go around it. Not every distributor has that ability to put multiple subscriptions of the same license in, but it's an opportunity for you to speak to the client and go, hey, how can we help, protect you against this? And again, you are showing your value of saying a 10% price rise is it's pretty significant. Let's have a conversation and talk about how we can help you mitigate it. And if you can't, okay, let's have a conversation about how we make the most out of the licenses that you are buying. So if you're using Business Premium, could we turn off some other stuff? Could we consolidate some stuff? Are there other things that we can, use in this portfolio that you can stop paying for somewhere else? Again, to help you offset this 10%. You're being a partner. You're not just being a licensed supplier. And I think it's a really great chance to speak to people. It's a horrible conversation, but again, and we've said this before, prices are going up everywhere. Energy prices are going up. Gas prices are going up. It's everywhere. So it's expected that this will happen. But again, you're there as their partner. How are we helping? What can we do? How do we work on this together?
Yeah. Danielle made a comment. She on LinkedIn. She said on reviews, ask them what they would like. Some of my clients want quarterly and we're contracted for that. Also ask them what they want to do during these reviews and the venue type when they happen, regardless of the recurrence. I've had clients that like to set and forget, but agree to simple touch points during the relationship. So again, like you guys said, some clients that a pizza party may not work. But be careful of the assumptions you make about what your clients are willing to do too, because I kind of thought that with law firms, they're not going to like a pizza party. Like, dude, it was incredible. Like you walk in there, one of my biggest law firm clients, you walk in there with pizzas, man, and everybody's happy. You sit around the conference room table, and the stuff that you're able to find out about people, your process, about them, I mean, just everything about it was beneficial because everything changed from, that one problem user that we all have inside of every client. She stopped being a problem user because when we helped her understand a few things, it wasn't an adversarial relationship. So yeah, I mean, if you're going to do that, put that on your to-do list for this year. That is one of them. You got to have these regular engagements with your clients so that these difficult conversations that you're going to continue to have, that's just the nature of business, are going to be much, much easier going forward. But yeah, if they never hear from you except, hey, prices are going up, and hey, this stuff's broke, you need to spend more money. That makes these conversations super awkward. Pete, I know you got to go. So we'll kind of wrap this up as we come towards the top of the hour here.
I've got my box of things to show.
Yes, he had a box of things to show us. So we got I was trying to give you 10 minutes to do it. So
that's all right. No, it probably won't even take 10.
Super. Awesome.
This is kind of a lesson on good marketing, but wrongly delivered or something. Some nice way of saying it. So I get sent stuff a lot, and I got this in the post the other day, and I was like, oh, this is pretty awesome. Like, it's really well presented, like really well put together. This is the package, and it says on the box, noted, everything you need, nothing you don't. So I was like, cool, okay, there must be some pretty cool stuff inside. So I looked at it, I opened it up. I'll give you one sweatband.
Okay.
I'll give you one, I don't know what it is, shopping bag?
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
I think it's a shopping bag.
These are mobile phone guys, right? Poco
this
make
is a mobile phone company. Poco is a Chinese mobile phone company.
Yeah.
I'll give you one can, which that comes off and it's a thing, and
maybe you put your headband in there.
And then
to gather up the sweat
is they've given me, which I haven't opened yet. First of all, it's an XL. I'm a medium. They've given me a shirt that looks like I want to go and work in a Poco store. And I just opened all of these going, that was a massive wasted opportunity as far as like marketing goes. They could have made like a really nice impact. And it's not the first time they've done this. But when you're sending gifts to your customers, which I think I'm a big believer that you should be doing, try and send stuff that they actually want and would use or consume. Because I don't see myself using any of this. I think all of this is probably going to end up in a landfill or with a homeless person or something.
Wasted opportunity.
Like a lovely box. Like, it's like magnetic closing and clasps and like nice colours. Like, I love my bright colours and the colour schemes and stuff. It's all good. But just they needed to be, and particularly don't say everything you need and nothing you don't on the box. That's really like, maybe they're doing it on purpose, but just I feel that there was a big missed opportunity, and I see this quite a lot with other businesses and even just like randomly associating this with like IT tenders when you're tendering for work and things. People completely like misread the specs and go in with something, and I think there's a lot to be said for like reading the room, reading your customer, and I saw the comment. What should they have sent you? To be honest, just anything that would have been useful. Like, I mean, there are mobile phone companies. They know that I review mobile phones, so it could have been chargers, battery packs, cables. Like, someone sent me a very nicely braided USB, was it C to Lightning cable? I actually use that. It's a really simple thing, but I genuinely use it, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And I think in terms of like marketing to your customers and like sending gifts to your customers, there's things like I never really bothered to send Christmas cards as a business, because all you're going to do is end up being yet another Christmas card in a pile of Christmas cards. So think about what else you could do outside of those times that can make you stand out. Like things like if you have make a note in your CRM system when the clients joined you, when they became a customer. Now, every year on their anniversary, you can write them a nice handwritten postcard. Simple things, handwritten postcard saying, "Thank you so much. I've just realized it's been 2 years since we met and started working together. I've loved working with you. Like, or you always give us a shout if you need anything. Let's grab lunch sometime." Like something simple like that can work really, really well. And then you can bolster it with, well, let's send a bucket of sweets every year. So, it's not just the person we're speaking to, but it's all of their staff as well. Just things like that are genuinely consumed or, more widely accepted. When you go to trade shows, everyone gets pens and notebooks and those kind of things because they are kind of used. And most people probably take the mick a bit too much and just fill a bag up with, I used to do that, fill a bag up with tons of stuff and actually not use half of it. Yep. But just some form of thought. It feels to me there was zero thought that gone into that. It was just a very big bulk. Let's just find the cheapest stuff we can produce, chuck it into a box, which looks like they spent some time on the box.
Yeah.
But just, the rest of it just really put me off, I think. So that was just my my funny closing statement there in terms of marketing, how to get marketing right and how to get it wrong.
Yeah. Daniel said a
and if
Yeti mug would have been better.
A sweatband and a shirt, then you know where to go.
I was kind of thinking the sweatband thing. It's the beginning of the year. Everybody's doing their fitness goals, at least till February 1st. So I kind of thought that's where they were going with that, with the sweatband. But yeah, you lost me after that. So
perhaps. maybe it's a thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I think for me, it's just that it's nowhere near what their product is. Like when you open the box, I was like, so the thing that they're missing is like a phone and like.
Okay, so a week before, I can't show it to you. Sorry, a week before they did send me a phone. So I have had a phone, but okay, so this isn't the first time they've done it. They sent me a neon sign, like a proper neon sign that said Poco, and again, like it was like this big. You can't see it because it's out of frame, but it was quite big. And so now I've got what do I do with that? And you can't. Sorry, it was this big. It was this big, sir. And you got to go and again throw it in the dump somehow or dispose of it somehow. And they sent me in the height of summer, they sent me a USB fan, which probably cost them like $1 or £1 or something. And yes, Jess, it's wrong products, wrong selection, very bad. Good the thoughts there, but bad selection.
Yeah.
It almost seems though like that box that they sent you was like their new team starter pack. So you get a T-shirt, you get a water bottle, or you get a sweatband, and like, this is what we send to all our new starters. Like, I don't work for you.
There was no nice Chili's bottle there, Scott. Nothing quite like yours at all. So yeah.
Yeah. Danielle said pre-COVID she'd send anniversary cakes to her clients with a personal inscription on the top and icing. I like that. That's kind of cool. Yeah, and then you could support local bakers. I used to do that too. I went to a local baker who would put our logo on top of cupcakes. That's when we did onboard a new customer. We were there for the first day. That's what we had. So yeah, spread the love. Awesome. So yeah, appreciate all that showed up today. Robert Gibbons, Westway IT, Pocket Video Schools, Sam Jones, Danielle Okuna. Let's see here. Who else was on here? Mark Barton, Tony Edwards, Clinton Castellar. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. So I'm going to have to put another bug up LinkedIn's butt about getting comments working, man. This is frustrating. So, so if you're watching this and you know anybody, I've tried a couple times to run my connections up the flagpole to get some joy with the LinkedIn comments. Ecamm Live needs access. They're waiting on the instructions to be able to use the API for comments. So they're approved to use comments, but LinkedIn hasn't sent them the instructions on how to implement it. So another bad use case for tech support. So anyway, so I'm going to keep hammering that. So if I'm going to put that up on LinkedIn too, please vote on it. If you're Ecamm fam, we're trying to raise our voice to LinkedIn because I want this to work. Not this half work, half not work crap. So anyway, I digress. I could go into a full rant on Microsoft. Anyway, so thanks for joining us today. If you have a topic that you would like us to cover in a future episode, please drop that in the comments. Reach out to us on all of the socials. Look for Pete's new unboxing video of Paco. Is it Poco or Paco? I've never ever heard of it. They don't sell that here in the States. So yeah, when you posted that the other day, I think they're your first phone video of them. I'm like, what the heck is that? Like, I never heard of that phone brand. So anyway, if not, if we don't see you online, we will see you next week, same time, same place. Good hanging out with you guys today, and we'll see everybody next week.